welcome to my channel. Today's video, and you could probably have guessed if you're one of my frequent followers, that this is going to be a one sheet wonder video. And once I flip the paper over, you'll probably also guess what the occasion is for this one sheet wonder. Okay, a one sheet wonder video can be very easy to do. You just need to think about what you're going to do ahead of time and do a little prep work. Okay, so here we go. And here is the paper. So yes, this is going to be my Independence Day cards. And yes, I missed the holiday. My many apologies, my friends and family. I didn't get it out in time this year, but I still wanted to make a video and show you what we're going to do. So I made two prototypes for this paper, and I'm going to show you. This is the first prototype, and this is the second one. And how I do my 12 by 12 papers, when I make a prototype, I photocopy the paper in question, which you see here, and then I'm free to cut it up however I want and try different things without actually wasting the paper. So there is a video on my channel where I show more about how to create a prototype, and there are also many other one sheet wonder videos on my channel. So I'm going to make 12 cards like this and 12 cards like this. There will be a lot more of the stars paper left over, but I'm going to use all of the striped paper. All right, let's get started with this video. Okay, using the striped paper, I'm going to need 2 full sheets of the striped paper, but I will only need 1 full sheet of the blue star paper. And if you notice that this paper has a border on one side, which has all the information for the manufacturer of the paper, but that is not part of the 12 by 12 measurement. So if you were to measure this, you would see that this measures 12.5 inches, because this is a 1/2 inch. I've gone ahead and I've made a grid of where I'm going to make my cut so I can show you how the paper will be divided up. So I'm going to go all of the paper into 4 by 3 inch for the stripe, and this is the edge that is not used. And for the blue paper, I'm going to use all of the paper except this part, and of course this also includes that stripe that's not used. So this is going to be a very frugal way to cut the paper. On the red and the blue, you'll have a little bit of extra that you can use in something else. All right, I've brought in my 12 by 12 paper cutter, and I'm going to cut 3 columns of 4 inches, and then I'm going to turn the paper, and I'm going to cut 4 columns of 3 inches. You could cut this at exactly 3 3/4, which is what I'm actually going to need, but I wanted to give myself just a little bit of wiggle room for lining up the paper at the edge. And also, when you're cutting striped paper, be really mindful of which direction the stripes are going. You really don't want to cut it the wrong way. Okay, and now I'm going to cut it at 3 inches. Let me double check that. Yep, 3 inches. Now for the second sheet, you're going to cut the same dimensions, 4 by 3, but you have the stripes going this way. And you know what? I'm going to cut that white panel off first. So let's cut it into 3s. And now these are cut by 4. So now there are 12 going this direction with the stripes and 12 going the other direction with the stripes. The blue star paper, I'm going to need to cut it a little differently. Now the width of all of these is going to be 2 inches. So the best thing for me to do is to cut 2-inch strips. So I'm going to do that first this way. And let's see. Let me flip that back over. Okay, now I need to get 6 inches for here. Okay. So each of these strips will be cut into 3, right? Yeah, 3 with a little bit of waste. And this larger piece, this one, I will cut it in half at 2 inches, and then again at 2 inches, and then cut each one into 1.25 inches. But I'm going to do that on my smaller cutter because this is kind of unwieldy for such small dimensions. And this is leftover. Luckily, I had more blue paper than I needed because I made the wrong cut right off the bat. And if you were watching carefully, you probably noticed it. I needed to make the cut at 2 inches, 2 inches, and 2 inches, and 2 inches, so I got the 4 columns of 2 inches. And then when I turned the paper, the next cut, I cut at 6 inches. I should have cut it at 7.5. So I got a lot of waste because I had to make up for that and get those extra pieces that I inadvertently cut off. But I still have a little piece left here for something else. So be careful when you cut that paper at that section. So look carefully at the graph that I used and figure out where to cut so that you don't replicate my mistake. But I still got all the pieces that I need. So here are the pieces for the first prototype, and here are the pieces for the second prototype. And I'll bring them back so that you can see which one we're going to do. Okay, now let's start putting the card together. Okay, before I get started, I wanted to give you a chance to see these 4th of July nails that I got. Special for the occasion. And I got those at Q-Spa Nails in Mill Creek. Now the prototype that I made, I went ahead and made one of the cards so that you could see more of what it's going to look like. All right, that's the first one. And the second prototype, which I have here, this is the card that I made for that one. Okay, this card is going to go together very quickly. I'm just going to show you how to do one of the cards. I'm not going to do all 12, well actually all 24, to save time in the video, but you will just repeat the method for all the cards. The materials I'm going to be using today: a boy and girl and tree die set, which I got from Amazon, no name for that. I have some dollar stamps I got from Joann's, I think, and I'm using this Remember stamp. A wonderful stamp and die cut, and let's see, this is Hero Arts. A Zoe Woodshop stamp set, and let's see, who's this from? Love Elsie. This is Love Elsie. Stampin' Up Crazy About You stamp set. I'm using a Sizzix folder. This is Paisley Palooza, and this is the Starburst one. It's got all these colors on it, which I'll explain in a minute. I'm using the A2 Matting Basics B and A from Spellbinders. There's a couple missing out of here because I have them set aside. The Artstamp Large Numbers by Fiskars. And the Something to Celebrate by Stampin' Up. I will also need some rhinestones. And I have this I Love America stamp by D.O.T.S. Now let me clear this away. The first step is to take the smaller of the two white panels and stamp the two sentiments for the front on it. And I brought in my stamp pad to make sure that I get a good pressure resistance so that I get a good impression. Okay. This is actually a very fast design, and it's going to go relatively quickly unless I make some mistakes, and I hope not. So I'm taking my Candied Apple Distress marker, and I'm going to color in the heart here. And I'm taking the blueprint sketch marker and color in that star. You could use any marker that you had for this. Okay. That just needs a second to dry. I'm going to move on to the die cutting. So I'm going to cut this out here and cut this out here. And I'm going to take the black mat and the two little kids, I'm going to cut out one of each out of the center here. So I'm going to do this off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have those, I'm going to keep all my cutouts in this little bowl here so I don't lose anything. Okay, and set that aside and moving on. Now this is going to be the piece of paper that I use to line up the flag. And I'm going to just grab in some tape. And tape on the outside. This cardstock is sturdier than these two pieces of paper, so I'm going to put the tape on the cardstock. I just changed my microphone headphone, so to me it sounds like I'm under a little bit of a cloud here, so it sounds weird to me. Sorry if I'm talking too loud because I haven't gotten used to it yet. I've only had it on for just 5 seconds. Okay, just butt the two up together. And this is a little bit longer, so I'm going to bring in my paper cutter and trim that edge. And okay, discard this. For the inside of the card, I made 2 templates here because one of the designs is landscape and one is portrait. And I'm going to use my Misty tool to quickly mass produce the cards. So I made one layout for this way and then another one for this way, and I'm going to use that layout to help me line up the stamps. And they're already on my Misty door where I need them to be right now, and I can quickly show you that it's set up to be the portrait one. So here is the wonderful, the vote, the to, and to have a. And then if I move it up here, you see I have the fourth and the forever. And I don't know if you can tell that, but I have to flip it around. And then here is the wonderful. Setting these things up ahead of time is the best way to quickly mass produce cards, because it speeds the process up and you don't have to go through a lot of thought process at the time that you're trying to keep your rhythm going. So the rest is just going to be assembling everything that you see, and this will go very quickly. Alright, that is the first prototype card all finished. For the second card, as before, I'm going to start out with the smaller of the two white panels, and I'm going to stamp the I Love America stamp. In this case, you want to make sure that you stay in the center. Alright. Give that a little quick dry, and again, same thing, marker for the heart, marker for the star, and in this case again, I'm going to take and die cut out this part, and I'm also, as before, going to die cut out the little boy and the little girl, but in this case I also need to get this rectangle. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up in the die cut machine about like this, making sure it's well in the center, and go back to the edge, but not too close to the edge because you don't want it to show when it's behind the flag. So this is going to be about a 1/4 inch in and then a little bit more. So I'm going to die cut this and die cut this, and I'll be right back. So now I end up with this. I'll throw that away, that's needed because that is this outside frame, and this mat, set that aside so I don't lose these things. Here's a little guy. This one is a little bit tricky to get out. There, got her. And this mat, and this. Again, don't throw that away, that's needed. And one other die cut that I actually should have done there, but I forgot, sorry. I need to die cut this flag a little bit because I want it to be a better fit on this than this 3x4 was. So it's just a matter of lining it up to one of the corners, and it almost fits. Not quite, but just close enough. So that way it'll be more true to the size of this. So let me do that real quick and I'll be back. All right, now we're ready. So this is the little bit of waste that, oh, come on, it's left over. Almost nothing. Okay, so that goes there. As you see, it will cover that part. Now the fun part. I'm going to bring in a piece of paper and I am going to paint up my embossing folder. And you can see that it's already covered because I did all the other cards and I didn't see the sense of cleaning it and have to wait for it to dry. So I'm taking two little daubers, finger daubers, and I'm going to put red all over where you already see the red. And this does not hurt your embossing folder at all. It rinses right out with water. But you want to be careful not to introduce the different colors of ink into your ink pad. So I don't want to accidentally put the red onto my blue pad or my red or the blue onto the red pad. So just be a little careful when you're doing multiple colors. If it was just one color, I could just take the pad and just drag it right across directly, and I wouldn't have to do this finger daubering step. But I thought it would be better to have the two color effect. Actually, I have an example here of when I went all over with the blue, so you can see what it looks like. And because I put the pad to it, I was able to get a much deeper color than this finger daubering I'm doing here. And I also experimented with just red in the center and blue on the outside, and then a diagonal pattern. And I also did the reverse where it just had a little dot of color here. But I ended up going with this one. Let me know what you think, which looks better, in the comment section below. So now I'm just going to go across with the blue. Very fast and very easy. Okay. And I could blend the colors a little bit more, but I don't want to contaminate, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Now that I have the ink on here, I'm going to take this and carefully put it in place so that it doesn't move. Close it and just run this through your Big Shot machine as usual. I'll be right back. So now I have my embossed panel, and to show you that I was not telling a fib, here is my embossing folder. I ran it under the water and just dried it off, and it is good as new, not a bit of ink anywhere. So don't be afraid to use ink on your embossing folders. It comes out wonderfully. Now for the rest, I'm just going to put the card together, and since this is a landscape card and the first one that I showed you was portrait, I'm bringing my Misty tool, and I'm going to have to move the stamps into the proper place, as I mentioned, using my key. So you can see how this is done as I put the rest of the card together. And that is all 24 cards. They went together really quickly, and I hope that you will feel more comfortable with doing the one sheet wonder technique by watching my videos. It really is a very easy way to quickly make a bunch of cards. I'd like to show you the prototype one more time. This is the prototype for this one. Let me keep it in frame. And the prototype for this one. So making a prototype is one way that you can quickly step through mass producing cards, and also making a key like I have here to help you quickly line up your stamps in the MISTI. I'd like to thank you for watching this channel, and I hope you will hit that subscribe button. I'd like to thank my brother David for the music. I hope you're enjoying it, especially this Independence theme music that he provided. Take care everyone, and have a great day.